Welcome back to the Rowdy Red Zone. We hope to highlight the Peters Township Athletic Department, events, and achievements. I'm Avery Lucas.
And I am Emma Bell. We are back for our second show ever. Today, we will be looking at the Peters Township winter sports and our current science students.
Many of our student athletes have decided to pursue their sports in college. PT celebrates their accomplishments through an event where students bring in their families to showcase their selected schools and photograph for both student publications and the community. Students appeared together wearing college gear and photographed with their families and together as the class of 2025. I personally had the opportunity to head over and see myself. Congratulations to our senior class of 2025, who are all now signed and committed to continue their academic and athletic college careers.
You have to fully know that it's a long and it's a tedious process, and at times it's going to feel like no one's responding. You just have to keep putting in the effort to reach out to those coaches and post those highlight reels, because that's what will get you seen, and also a lot of connections. But what I really want to talk about is picking a college. And it's not just because of the Division I or Division II or Division III. You need to find a college that's right for you and that's your fit, whether it's big or it's small. It's all about what you want to major in, and if you really love the sport enough to be doing it all the time or be having some breaks and playing the sport you love. Because if you would have got hurt, would you really like to be at the college that you are signed and committed with?
Congratulations to all the seniors who committed. It was a great event, and I knew a few of the students' choices, but it was also great to learn about a few more too. Our athletic director, Mr. Brian Geyer, joined us today in the studio. Mr. Geyer, thank you for being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I just have a couple questions today, mostly surrounding signing day. And my first question would be, why does Peters Township decide to host our signing day on a different day than National Signing Day?
So, for a couple of reasons. One reason was several years ago we had a change of selection the day of, which kind of made it difficult to pivot quickly to get the stuff that we give our student athletes that sign, the placards, the nameplates, that type of stuff. Pivoted that quickly. So we typically pick a week that's a non-testing week, that the school calendar looks like it's decent. I know sometimes we juggle around sports events. For example, we do it after school. So in the spring, if baseball and softball team is playing on a day, we want to make sure that they're if there's any signees from those sports, that there's not a conflict for them, so they can attend as well.
Yeah. And why are there multiple signing days throughout the year?
So what we looked at is one in the fall, one right at the end of our fall season, one at the end of our winter season, and one at the end of our spring season. We found that it's a nice balance to have multiple days, because students are making their selections at different times throughout the school year. Some people go into their senior year knowing, I'm going to go to this school. Sometimes it's talking to the colleges in the fall and getting a better understanding of what that college has to offer athletically, academically, location-wise, and they can do a winter selection. Our spring selection is some people that had some offers and made some decisions a little later, or they got an offer to play. Maybe they thought that they weren't going to play sports in college, but at the end of the school year, they pivoted and they wanted to play sports in college. So that's why we do 3, just to try to balance it out, catch all of our student athletes at somewhat of a time that they've made their selection.
Yeah. And how do you select students for the signing day?
So what we do is we send to our booster presidents and our head coaches the day and time that we're doing this. We ask them for feedback back. We put on the morning announcements to any students that would come to our athletic office and basically sign up, and then we would get the information that we need from them to have a signing day, make sure that their parents and everybody that they'd like to bring as a guest is well aware as well.
And how do the kids bring in their information, and what kind of information do you need from them?
So basically we just need college attending, sport they're playing if it's a multiple sport athlete, and then we just need an action shot for what we give our student athletes as a memento from the athletic department in the district something that they can put up at their graduation party, or something they can take with them.
Yeah, and what does the preparation look like for this event?
It's just trying to juggle a calendar and get a date that works for everybody. That's our biggest thing, because with testing schedules, with other sports events, we just want to make sure that it's an event that everybody can attend that wanted to attend. So it's just finding a day and a time and a place that's all good for everybody.
Yeah. And for this most recent, this fall signing day, how many kids were involved? How many students?
I believe we had 10 to 12 is typically what we're normally around for the fall. Our winter signing day, which is in February, that is a little smaller. That's typically around 6 to 10. And then in the spring, we pick it up again. That's normally around 10 to 12, 10 to 15. Yeah. So we've been averaging about 30 students going for a senior class going on to college to play sports. Depending on the class sizes at Peters Township, I've been, sorry.
You're good.
Depending on the class sizes, I think it varies, but we're right around that 30 mark, give or take, on an annual basis.
Yeah, and are there a certain amount of family members that the students are allowed to bring?
No, they can bring anybody that they choose. We encourage families to come in. I know we've done some group photos, some with, just immediate parents, some with brothers, sisters, grandparents. It was, we've had some pictures with like 15 people in it. So it's whoever the student athlete would like to bring and whoever that they would like to share that opportunity with and that honor with, we'd welcome that.
Yeah, and just my last question would be, do you have any advice to the younger students or students who are looking to be an athlete in college that would be helpful?
Anybody who wants to be an athlete in college, I think the biggest thing is find a school that fits you both athletically. Is it a place that you want to play at? Is it a place that you can play at? Is it a place that you'd love to play for? But also the second piece of that is get a degree that you're going to have the opportunity to do something you love later on in life. What we've tried to advise student athletes is pick a place academically that has the degree that you want to do, rather than the athletic program, just because there's a lot of athletic programs out there that's pretty comparable across the board. All colleges are a little different in what they offer academically, and that's the biggest piece, I think, is find a place that's going to be the right fit for you. Yeah. Do you want to stay local? Do you want to travel? Do you want a big school, small school? But again, that's a lot of decisions that the student athlete and the parents have to make and decide what's the best fit in that particular situation and that time for that student athlete.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure
Appreciate
having
it.
you. Yeah. Peters Township hosts multiple athletic sports. One newer competitive sport is fencing. Students grades 6 to 12 practice, but only high school students compete in events. Students practice once or twice each week while also competing in occasional tournaments. Jack Sukowski invites the team to get a rundown on the beginnings of another season.
Here at PTHS, one of our many sports teams is the fencing team. Starting in the winter, both the boys and girls team practices skills and develops fundamentals for their competitions later in the year. Led by members such as Alex Brown and El Gensler, the program combines fast-paced individual competition with team sport. It requires different kinds of skills to fence.
So there's really two types of fencers. There's people who are more defensive, and then there's more aggressive fencers. Defensive fencers generally keep themselves more protected, and they're more focused on preventing their opponent from getting points, whereas aggressive fencers are more interested in taking charge and having the attack action and landing more hits on their opponent.
The fencers are doing very well in competition this year, and coming off of some of their tournament wins, they are looking to take the team to states. Through their strong coaching staff and sharp competition, both the boys and the girls team are having a great season.
The fencing team is off to a great start yet again, competing in foil and épée styles. Both girls and boys compete in foil through March, and épée tails from then all the way until May.
I had no idea that the fencing competition season ran through the entirety of the spring, but I did know that they have been around for a few years. In addition to that, the diving team was recently expanded onto the swim team. The team expanded this year after 2 juniors decided to quite literally wet their feet and most of the rest of themselves as well. Joey Spurgell went to find out a little more about the new arm of the team's competition.
The Peters Township men's swim and diving team has had no divers for several years. As a result, the team has earned no points, penalizing them in every competition. Any diver will gain 15 points just for having qualifying dives. Each participant performs 6 separate dives and are rated by 3 judges on a scale of 1 to 10 based on difficulty and performance. The men's team is made up of 2 juniors, Connor Seaman and RJ Bush, who both have become the captains of the men's team in their first years competing. The boys went from starting practice to not even being able to dive to now already impacting the scores of the team. The team is always supported by the swim team and the fans due to how crucial they are.
I joined the dive team because they said they needed members, and RJ and I thought we haven't done something new in a while. It'd be fun to learn something new, so we signed up, showed up to practice one day, and have been going since.
To get to being competition ready with no experience takes quite some effort by the coaches, teammates, and player. Congrats to RJ and Connor for both getting first and second, respectively, at their last dive meet here at Peters Township. And speaking of success, our girls basketball team currently is ranked number 1 in Division 5A for Pennsylvania. The girls plan to work together and finish the season on a strong note, planning a successful season. Skylar Gaudio visited the team to get updates on the season.
The Peters Township girls varsity basketball team is having a great season so far and are currently 5-0. Though, for this to happen, the girls need to bond in order to work together.
Our teams come together as a group. We've done a lot of activities like going to team dinners, or we have assigned families. Like each senior has a couple of girls who are their sisters, I guess you could say, and we do activities with them. Like we delivered sponsorship letters together, and it was really fun. And we do a lot of bonding, which helps our team chemistry at practice.
Having a great team is not only built off of individual players, but also how they work together to achieve their goal of winning. Team bonding activities play a role in the success of the team. The girls have worked hard this year and hope to secure a championship win.
Basketball is a sport that requires a lot of stamina and mental focus. This seems like a very tough sport to play. Like basketball, wrestling is one that can be mentally tough and is more than just about beating the opponent. Girls wrestling is becoming a newly recognized sport, and this year, PTHS is a part of introducing the sport. Our own Amanda Doty met up with the team to check in on this season's success.
The Peters Township High School has introduced a girls wrestling team this year. Girls wrestling is the fastest growing sport nationally.
For me, I think the toughest part is knowing that a lot of people doubt you just because you're a girl and it's mainly a sport for boys, but I think just having a team with other girls with the same goal and that are really supportive is really helpful to keep you to continuing to do the sport.
The coach, Amber Helfenstein, has built the team this year. The team hopes to gain confidence, grow wrestling experience, and have a great time. Although small, only 5 wrestlers, they host 3 seniors and 2 sophomores, providing growth, opportunity for the next few years.
Girls Wrestling is a brand new team that was introduced just this year. After working with Canon McMillan High School last year, the team finally became official, gaining the attention of school and recruiting a few new members. These girls are proving their hard work this season in their 4 tournaments that they plan to attend in 2025.
After another successful team start, the kids have developed yet another way for students to get involved. The girls wrestling team needs all of PTHS's support, just like all of our other athletics. Cheering them on is the PTHS cheerleading team. Whether on the sidelines or around the community, our cheerleaders represent PTHS with pride and energy. The cheer team season starts in the summer with football in the fall and basketball in the winter, and even a wrestling match as well. Max Renda met up with the girls at a girls' game and got an update on the team.
Peters Township Cheer Team is a group of girls that have come together to root on the township. On Friday nights, you could find them on the sidelines of football games. Now, they're cheering on the boys and girls basketball team.
It's really nice to be so involved with the community. You know, we get to go to Bower Hill, PV, the kids look up to us. It's nice to cheer at all the games, all the basketball games, football games, and we just like to help out a lot. We paint the parking lots, we paint the stadiums, we make signs for the football players, and it's just really nice to, help out and be a part of something like that.
The girls don't just do sporting events. You can also find them all around the community. At retirement homes and other community spots, you can find them cheering on our community.
We hope the cheerleaders have a successful rest of their season and a good time cheering on our basketball teams.
Thank you so much for watching our PT Sports segment of Rowdy Red Zone.
Our school has developed a serious set of local athletics, and we aren't able to highlight everything that the teams have done. Make sure to tune into the next show to hear how our other teams are doing. But after our break, we'll head into the last segment of the show to hear our student viewpoint on national sports. Max and Carter always have something to say.
I'm Max Renda.
And I'm Carter Helbig.
And you're watching the Rowdy Red Zone. That was good. That was good.
Welcome to the overtime segment of the show, where we transition from the excitement of the local sports to the big leagues across the world. I'm Max Renda.
And I'm Carter Helbig. Pittsburgh has a ton of national sports history. Even though the Pens are having a somewhat of a lackluster season and the Pirates are in permanent rebuilding mode, there's tons to talk about nationally.
Let's get into overtime. Our first topic is the college football playoff. First year of 12 teams in here, and despite the hope that it would bring parity to the field, 5 of the 12 teams have already played in the 14 playoff, and 8 of the 12 have played in a New Year's Six Bowl in the last 5 years. Carter, what are your thoughts?
You know what, man? What are we talking about? I zoned out.
College football playoff.
Oh, dude, Ashton Jaunty robbed of the Heisman. What do you think about it? Do you think Travis Hunter? Look, listen. I understand that he's a two-way player. Don't get me wrong, but he doesn't lead in any single stat line in his position at all, no matter what. Ashton Jaunty, first in rushing yards, first in touchdowns, first in average yards per game, first in average yards per rush.
Okay.
What are we thinking?
So Travis Hunter basically swept the awards field this year. Took home the Blitnikoff for best receiver. I mean, he, top 5 receiver, top 5 cornerback. You'd take that over a running back any day of the week, especially with how valuable running backs have been. We've seen that they're replaceable. A top 5 corner, top 5 wide receiver, give me that over a running back.
No, but listen. Okay. Here's another way to think about it. Boise State would not be in the position that they are if Travis Hunter was Ashton Jaunty, and Colorado would be in the CFB if they had Ashton Jaunty over Travis Hunter.
No, they would not, because Deion Sanders, it's very obvious he stat padded all year for Shadur and for Travis. Deion would not run the ball if he had prime Barry Sanders in the backfield. All right? That's just what it is. It's as simple as that. In Boise State, I'm happy for them making the playoff. Do I think they'll get very far? No, I do not.
Well, big game Saturday up at Beaver Valley. Penn State, SMU. Who you got in that?
Look, as much as I'd love to say SMU, I think Penn State does win it. You could call it a big game, get their first big game win in a decade now. But I think, we'll see Penn State win. I think we'll see Tennessee win. I think we see Notre Dame crush Indiana. And I think we see Clemson take down Texas.
Clemson over Texas? That's a take. I don't know.
I don't like Quinn Ewers. I don't think Quinn Ewers is a very good quarterback. I just don't think Texas is very good.
What do you think Georgia about the loss of their quarterback?
So Carson Beck, I think it's probably, in previous years, I think it would have been less of a bigger deal this year, even though I don't think Carson Beck is very good. I don't think he's a very good prospect. I think he does help that Georgia team a lot, and I think we're going to see the effects of it in the playoffs.
Drew Aller announced he's going to return for the 5th year in a row. Mm-hmm. Also, Penn State losing their versatile running and throwing quarterback, Bo.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
It sucks the way the transfer portal is, where players basically have to transfer out now, as soon as, as quick as while the season's going, right? But I think Drew Aller returning for a 5th year means nothing. Drew Aller hasn't won jack in the last 4 years. What's he going to do in the 5th year, Carter?
Yeah, no, you're right. I am not a Drew Aller light. I don't like Drew Aller, okay? He needs to be expelled from Penn State immediately. Mm-hmm. I don't like him as a quarterback. However, he's doing good right now, okay? Lost to 1 touchdown against the number 1 team in the country. I mean, threw a shady interception, when they really needed it. But, it happens. Miranda, I have a question for you. Who do you got in the CFB championship?
I think, the stars are aligning. I think we see Clemson go back to the national title game after all that talk about Dabo Swinney not utilizing the transfer portal. I think he shuts all the critics up. I think we see him, and I think we see, probably Georgia, to be honest. I think Georgia's path is very easy, and I think they'll get through without a doubt. Clemson, Georgia.
Great take. All right. So, Juan Soto. Soto lottery is over, and Juan Soto has chosen the New York Mets in a shattering $765 million salary, around $320,000 per game. It edged the Yankees by $5 million, but included a luxury box. So, Max, is this a great deal, or are we going to see Mets with another vanilla day?
I mean, Carter, $765 million, that's a steep price to pay for someone who's a bit lackluster in the outfield, but his bat is extraordinary. We saw him burst onto the scene in 2019 with the Nationals, and ever since then, he's been, head and shoulders above the field. Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, who do you want at the plate? You want Juan Soto. So, Steve Cohen, he's got the money, might as well spend it.
Yeah, I've been Juan Soto's been compared to the Patrick Mahomes of the MLB. Great, as you said, high, very, very great batting percentage. I think it's 4.21 or something, somewhere around there.
Yeah, he's a very valuable player. His WAR about 8 or 9 every season. Hasn't taken home an MVP award yet, though. We'll see if he can get one of those in his trophy case while he stays in New York, just in a different uniform. So we'll see. The NFL regular season is winding down, and the Steelers backed into the playoffs with an underwhelming loss to the cross-state rival Eagles, playing for an AFC North crown this weekend versus the rival Ravens. Should the team be in on the chat with the big dogs on the march to the Super Bowl, Carter?
We lose in the second round. That's what I'm predicting now. I think we have first round in us. We're a very good team. We're winning valuable games. But then we go and we lose to the Browns and we lose to the Eagles and the Colts, and I forget who else.
Lost to the Cowboys.
I was going to say, it was the Cowboys. It's like we win the big games. Obviously, we have Christmas. The Christmas game, we're playing the Chiefs, who are the number 1 team in the country, even though they're 13-1, who should really be 7-7. Mm-hmm. But it's okay. The greatest 13-1 team of all time for no reason. I think that will prove how far we can go in the playoffs is how we play on Christmas.
I think, potentially getting a home playoff game this weekend, that'll be very important for the Steelers, right? We haven't played at home since 2018, and we lost to the Jaguars, right? So you need to get over that hump. First of all, winning in front of your fans who have been loyal. I haven't seen this team win in the playoffs since I was in 3rd grade. I'm getting sick of it. I'm graduating this year. I want to see my team win in the playoffs, but I really don't think this team has the offensive prowess with T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt might be out. Pickens is still out. Now we got to go into Baltimore this weekend. It's just not looking good. I think we're not hot at the right time. I think other teams are heating up, and I think it's looking to be another first-round exit for the Steelers.
Yeah, speaking of heating up, the Vikings, seven-game win streak, I believe. But yeah, as you're saying, we are destroying our division. The Ravens, Bengals, and Browns, not even close. We're going to have a first-round bye no matter what.
I don't know. I mean, Carter, if you think about it, we're going into Baltimore this weekend. That's a tough place to play, especially potentially without T.J. Watt. It's not looking like Pickens is going to play, and we saw how well the offense did without Pickens, and now you're going into Baltimore. I think the Ravens probably mop us on Saturday, and now all of a sudden the Ravens have the Texans and the Browns last 2 weeks. That's not an unbelievably easy schedule to go 2-0 versus, and now all of a sudden you're looking at the Ravens stealing the division crown right from under us. So I think, while it seems like we're 10-4, everything's good, it's a very clear path to us skidding from the division and losing in the first round once again.
Well, the NBA Cup has wrapped up its second year with the Bucks dismantling the Thunder to take home the trophy. Apparently, for legal reasons, it must be called the Emirates NBA Cup, short elimination tournament that's been talked about for years, and now finally enters the round. Randa, thoughts?
I thought it was an exciting tournament. Last year I was fortunate enough to see LeBron take home the trophy and just add to his ever-long list of accolades. And now this year we see Giannis win it. Giannis is an NBA final champion. I feel like that kind of gets overlooked, that he's an NBA champion, MVP, and now he's an NBA Cup champion. So his resume is only getting bolstered by it. And the Bucks, they completely just, dominated the Thunder. It was a 15, 16-point victory. Giannis, of course, won the tournament MVP, and the Bucks are firing on all cylinders right now, Carter.
Yeah, they're obviously hungry for some sort of like playoff win. Obviously, they didn't have Giannis for the playoffs last year, first round exit. A little disappointing. That team really does revolve around him as much as any team probably would. Star player averaging around 34 points per game, about 15 assists, almost averaging a triple-double. But, you can't do it without the Greek freak.
That's right. I mean, Giannis is, of course, what makes the offense go. But I feel like, we forget Damian Lillard's on the team. And Damian Lillard has been an offensive prowess for, 10 years now in the league. I think if they get their chemistry together, it's really going to be something to watch. Women's volleyball, Final Four starting today, and both Pitt and Penn State are still vying for a title. We could see a full Pennsylvania title match. Carter, you going to be a homer and put them both in?
I'm going Pitt, Nebraska. Listen, ride or die Penn State fan, but at the same time, Nebraska, the Cornhuskers been looking so good all season. I just can't bet against them.
Yeah, I mean, Penn State, shared the Big Ten title with Nebraska this year. They did beat them in the regular season, but Nebraska turns up in the playoffs. It is what it is. They made the finals last year, and then going over to Pitt, Louisville. I mean, this is the third straight year we've seen them in March Madness. It seems like no matter where they're seated, no matter how the bracket works out, we're destined to see a date between these two. Of course, 2 years ago, Louisville knocked off Pitt in the Final Four. Last year, Pitt with the dramatic reverse sweep to make it to the Final Four. I think Pitt makes it 2-1 versus Louisville and heads to the national championship versus Nebraska.
Who you got in the championship?
It's Pitt. I mean, it's Pitt. Pitt, Olivia Babcock, of course, leading them. They have 3 first-team All-Americans, a second-team All-American. Babcock, a finalist for the National Player of the Year award. It's all looking to be Pitt. Well, thank you for joining us on the Rowdy Red Zone. We hope to see you back here next month for our 3rd show.
Have a happy holidays, and good luck in the volleyball games.